Okay, Jessica, here we are on the verge of the new season. Been excited. I see you excited for it. Kind of talk about the excitement in the building right now, building up toward this, towards the season opener.
Yeah, I think the word that I've probably used the most has been fun, right? Everything that we're doing, I mean, the over 23 group that you interviewed before, they're fun, right? The college players that are coming in, they're fun. The youth players that we have in, like, they're all special and they're talented, and it has been really great, like, bringing that piece together because they get it and they're high level players and they think at the next level and they know what the roots and the soul are about. So that makes it so easy. But Saturday's going to be fun.
Yeah. Last time we talked, there was no roster. Talk about the recruiting trail, how things have been going for you and the staff.
Yeah, so we're between like 35 and 40 players now signed, right? So you've only seen like 25% of the players announced. A group of them will get out of college within the next few weeks, and then the youth players will start to get released from their own situation, and the over 23s are working through over 23 things like jobs and bringing their bodies back to back to playing. So that will take place like over the whole summer. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have we don't have 37 on the roster for game day. We have 18, and we'll take the best 18 that are available for that week and base it off of positions and put that product out. But there is a training component where, like, the expectation is high based off of what we've had the past few weeks of training. But the 35 to 40 players that we have are talented, and they fall into basically what the roots and soul are about culturally.
As you mentioned there, so many players have their own lives.
Yeah.
It's an interesting factor in this league because a lot of these girls could probably play professionally if there were jobs available. Kind of talk about that and how this is a good opportunity for athletes in California.
Yeah, I mean, besides what the USLW is doing and how it will turn into the Super League, like, we are on the brink of something amazing, right? In the fact that we have players in our system that when NWSL is sending players to the World Cup, some of the players that we have in the system may be called into NWSL camp and play with NWSL teams. We have players in our system that there's potential for them to be called into the World Cup for different countries. We have players in our system that are going off to CONCACAF for the U20 group. Like, we have players that are all over the place, but as far as like a talent and what the USLW to Super League will provide, like, we have the best, and to be able to have the group of players here to start the inaugural season in something special and really kick that off, I think is what the Soul is pushing for, and like creating that really professional environment and being part of a professional league. So we're on the edge of glory here.
Yeah. I mean, California, as we talked before, California is such a hotbed for women's soccer. Just, why do you think it's important to be here with the start of Soul, especially for these players to be here at the start of this campaign?
The best, right?
Yeah.
Like, the connection to having the best with all of these great schools around, not just the Power Fives, but you also have really fantastic mid-majors. You have fantastic Division IIs, NAIAs, and there is a group of players, not just our Power Five group, but you have different cultures where some of our players are going off into Guatemala National Camp or Mexican National Camp, and like, it is a hotbed not just from a college perspective, but for those players who are breaking into that next level. And so I think that creates a specialness around Soul, and just being in the Bay Area and Oakland, and kind of the diversity that brings along with that talent and flair. Like, there is a flair to what they do, and that's not something I'm used to.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely doesn't happen on the East Coast as much, but there is a flair element to it, and there is a fun element to it that I think you get from, and I think we spoke about this before, from a California standpoint.
And when I think of players like that over 23 group, Miranda, Teresa when she gets here, and Aaliyah, I think of their experience in the college game, pro game, and national game. How does having those leaders and veterans help you as a coach?
It's the most important piece.
Yeah.
Because I can coach them, right? X's and O's, this is what we want to do. It's a conversation I had with Miranda over the past few weeks and trying to get her on board too and coming to the soul of the fact that, like, how do we create a fun environment, right? That's a part of the experience that we want, away from, we want player safety, right? That's like the number one priority. We want player safety. We want to create a culture that is strong and player driven, where we as a staff are making sure that we are taking care of them in the right way. But having the over 23 and that experience in the locker room and saying, like, no, this is what we need, like, we know this part, or this is the standard we're driving, while also balancing how do we have fun and how do we do this, and bringing their different experiences of saying, like, this is what soul culture needs to look like, this is what we want it to look like. Because I can tell them, hey, this is what I want, but if they don't buy into it, they're old enough to say, like, nah, that's not for us.
Yeah.
There are things that they now want to do where they're taking ownership, especially the over 23 group, and saying, like, hey, what are your thoughts here? And I'm like, I love that. Like, let's do that. I'll get the supplies that you need, right? Like, it's coming from them, and that's what I love. It's a player-driven culture.
Yeah. And back to recruiting, kind of compare, contrast the differences from the college game where you were to now at Whistle.
Well, it's a substitution rule, right? And the fact that players can't be subbed, right? You see the field once, right? In the college game, like, you just rotate, right? You can have the platoon system like Anson at UNC, and at 22 minutes, you can change over the whole attacking group.
Yeah.
Can't do that at USLW, right? So that is a big difference to what we're talking about with them, especially with the college players who come into the system or the youth players. They don't understand that. So I keep saying, like, what do we have to do from a periodization model of, like, building them up, especially the over 23 group? We have to try and get them fit. When was the last time they played a 90-minute competitive game, unless they were just coming off of the pro season, which none of them have yet?
Yeah.
That is the biggest difference, right? How do they manage a game where at the college level your management system is different? And we have to teach the youth players that too, which is why we surround them with the 23s.
Okay. And just regarding the energy around the club, you know, people laughing, smiling, it seems that
They're
energy
still
is really
here.
good. Yeah, talk about the energy around the club right now.
So if we work our way backwards, sometimes I have to kick them out because the players stay here.
Yeah.
And that's the really nice part, right? Like, they're coming from different environments, they're coming from different backgrounds, but they want to stay and be together. Then before that, we cross over with 510 at some point, right? And when 510 is getting off the field, we're prepping to get on the field. There's crossover with them, and there's a good set of, like, friendliness there, and the fact that I've asked the boys on 510 and the men on 510 to show our players how to play tech ball.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And so, because 510 is always playing tech ball, and I don't think it's something that our players have been around. So they're starting to teach them tech ball, which is pretty funny in itself. And the 510 men just asked me if they could wear the Soul blue tops. And so, like, they want to be a part of Soul, which is amazing, right? And it's the culture that everybody wants to be a part of. We have players that are asking, like, how can I come in even if I'm just a training player? Like, word is getting out about, like, what's been provided in this really professional setting. We're not just a women's team that shows up, like, on game day. Like, there's a thought process to what we're doing, and word is out about that. But there is a culture standpoint where when I see the Roots players, like, they're always so nice. There's not been crossover with our players necessarily yet. They train in the morning, we train at night. But at that doubleheader, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some Roots players at our game. And I know Soul players are going to be staying for the Roots game. So I think as we get closer and we spend more time together, like, there's a great cultural standpoint. But from a Roots staff, they're fantastic. They're supportive. They're asking questions like, how can I be helpful? What do you need, right? Same thing with 510. Everybody's just great.
And how excited are you to play in front of the fans?
I'm so excited. Like, I keep saying to the players, like, I have to try and think back because I'm not playing, right? But if I was, like, I would be out of my mind. I'm really excited. I think they're really excited for it, but I don't know if for some of the younger players who are rostered for the game, if they know
If they're aware.
how big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I think we spoke about this last time. I didn't realize how big of a deal it was, but like every day that you're in it, and every conversation, and every time there's a supporter or a comment or a fan, I have to be like, okay, there's more to this.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's more to Oakland, and especially with some teams moving on from Oakland, like how important does this become, right? So our younger players, when they step in front of the doubleheader crowd on May 13th, I think it's going to hit them then.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time they played in front of a group of 5,000, but it comes slowly for some, right? For others, I think they're in it from the beginning, and like every day is amazing for them. Yeah.
All right, Jessica.
Well, cool.
Bye.
Thank you.